Shalom. It's still raining in New York. Let's get that vacuum cleaner in the shot, because that is a really good vacuum cleaner. We're reading the word, back to reading, did the singing, and let's see if we can straighten out the camera a little bit. Reading, we're back to singing. I should have a business card to show you guys, but I don't, so I'll make it the thumbnail. Got the coffee. Stone soup ingredients for all your famine preparedness needs, and to tithe to RWTC, because this teaching takes time, and so does learning. I've done the singing, and let's actually go get one of these business cards. See, they're in my car because I'm not meeting people in my house. So you really want to have your business cards with you wherever you go. And I would say generally, my car goes where I goes. The scriptures, every day praising Yahweh, got my contact information on there. QR code right to the YouTube. The handle, youtube.com/@DylanBibles. This is totally backwards right now, and I don't love it, but the name of Yahweh, and then on his right hand, Yeshua. The righteous shall live by belief, Habakkuk 2:4. We'll get to that when we get to Galatians, and when we get to Habakkuk, but we're not going to get to Habakkuk till like Christmas. So, and this is the stone soup ingredients one. Both of them got wet on the journey in. Stone soup ingredients. It's a QR code to the site. Preparing the important parts. Praising Yahweh. Website. Instagram, TikTok. If you're not following us, you should be. Here, let's see if I can. You can, I don't even know if that'll work if you pause it and screenshot it. And then my homemade logo right there. Also with contact information, my phone number and such. So, because I ain't scared. I praise Yahweh, Yahweh Elohim. Yeah. Let's pray. Father Yahweh, good evening tonight. We are in Psalm 35 and 36 and Acts 25, which is your word. So you know it better than anyone. You and Yeshua HaMashiach, who are one. Father, I love you and I love Yeshua. I ask that your spirit flow through me so that I can guide the people to you. Let my words be your words, nothing more, nothing less. And bring a woman who can sing.
because I'm sure the people are getting tired of my improper pipes, even though I will diligently learn to do better. Father Yahweh, I pray this in the mighty name of Yeshua HaMashiach. Father Yahweh, I love you. Father Yahweh, I pray this in the mighty name of Yeshua HaMashiach. Amen.
A big part of my problem, because I'm so offbeat, is keeping on pace with the Spirit. Haven't quite learned to do that yet. I really beat to my own drum. Maybe I'll mature into it. I've been doing it. It'll be 2 years in September that I've came back to God. Diligent hard work. I mean, not many people get to stop life for 9 months and pursue God vehemently. And I've been very blessed to do that. Been all across the country, giving out Bibles everywhere. I'm ready to settle back into my life, start a new life, start over, a new life, a second life, be reborn in the name of Yeshua. Psalm 35, O Yahuwah, strive with those who strive with me. Fight against those who fight against me. Take hold of shield and armor, and rise for my help. And draw out spear and lance to meet those who pursue me. Say to my life, I am your deliverance. Let those be ashamed and blush who seek my life. Let those be turned back and abashed who plot evil to me. Let them be as chaff before the wind, with a messenger of Yahuwah driving on. Let their way be dark and slippery, with a messenger of Yahuwah pursuing them. For without cause they hid their net for me. Without cause they dug a pit for my life. Let ruin come upon him unawares. One moment. Gotta satisfy the Spirit. That's okay, because we'll just cut out the trip to the car. Maybe. Where should we start? Verse 8, let ruin come upon him unawares, and let his net that he hid catch himself. Let him fall into it, into ruin. Let my own being exult in Yahuwah. Let it rejoice in his deliverance. Let all my bones say, Yahuwah, who is like you? Delivering the poor from one stronger than he, and the poor and the needy from him who robs him. Ruthless witnesses rise up. They ask me that which I knew not. They reward me evil for good, bereaving my life. But I, when they were sick, put on sackcloth. I humbled my being with fastings, and my prayer would return to my own bosom. I walked about as though he were my friend or brother. I bowed down mourning as one mourning for a mother. But they rejoiced at my stumbling and gathered together. The smiters gathered against me, and I did not know it. They tore in pieces without season. With unclean ones, mockers at feasts, gnashing at me with their teeth, Yahuwah, how long would you look on? Rescue my being from their destructions, my only life from the lions. I give you thanks in the great assembly. I praise you among a mighty people. Let not my lying enemies rejoice over me, or those who hate me without cause wink their eyes. For they do not speak peace, but they devised words of deceit against the peaceable ones of the land. And they opened their mouth wide against me. They said, Aha, aha, our eyes have seen it. This you have seen, O Yahuwah, do not be silent. O Yahuwah, do not be far from me. Stir up yourself and awake to my right ruling, to my cause, my Elohim and my master. Rule me rightly, O Yahuwah, my Elohim, according to your righteousness. And let them not rejoice over me. Let them not say in their hearts, Aha, our desire. Let them not say, We have swallowed him up. Let those who are rejoicing at my evil be ashamed and abashed altogether. Let those who are exalting themselves over me be clad in shame and humiliation. Let those who delight in my righteous cause shout for joy and be glad. and let them always say, let Yahuwah be made great. Who is deserving the peace of his servant? And my tongue shall speak of your righteousness, your praise all day long. This is I like this one. Because this is very relational. This is where David's plugging into the world. And that text message was a, how do I plug in text message? A woman that I work with had gotten the urge to volunteer. And so my many outlets, I'm trying to plug her in somewhere. She's obviously got different skill sets than I do. She's a different person than I am. And so while I think that I'm very good at reading the word and digesting the word and knowing the word, I think that, she's going to be good at what she's going to be good at. Many agencies to plug in, and whether you want to use the skills that you have or gain new ones through volunteering, Yahweh is happy to bless you for doing for his people. And, clean and undefiled religion is visiting widows and orphans in their affliction. So don't start there, but that is like pinnacle. Oh, Yahuwah, strive with those who strive with me. Fight against those who fight against me. Take hold of shield and armor and rise for my help, and draw out spear and lance to meet those who pursue me. Say to my life, I am your deliverance. Let those be ashamed and blush who seek my life. Let those be turned back and abashed who plot evil to me. Let them be as chaff before the wind, with a messenger of Yahweh driving on. Let their way be dark and slippery, with a messenger of Yahweh pursuing them. Okay. We're going to stop there. This is, interestingly, not exactly loving your neighbor, but it is a vengeance is mine type deal. So saith the Lord. In Deuteronomy 32:35. Let's go there. This is a song by Moshe. Vengeance is mine. Let's start at 32. Their vine is the vine of Siddim, and the fields of Amorah. Their grapes are grapes of gall. Their clusters are bitter. Their wine is the poison of serpents, and the fierce venom of cobras. Is it not stored up with me, sealed up among my treasures? Vengeance is mine, and repayment at the time their foot slips. For near is the day of their calamity, and the matters prepared are hastening to them. For Yahuwah rightly rules his people, and has compassion on his servants. When he sees that their power is gone, and there is no one remaining, shut up or at large, and he shall say, where are their mighty ones, the rock in whom they sought refuge? Who ate the fat of their slaughterings, and drank the wine of their drink offerings? Let them arise and help you. Let it be a concealed place for you. See now that I am he, and there is no Elohim besides me. I put to death and I make alive. I have wounded and I heal, and from my hand no one delivers. For I lift my hand to the heavens, and shall say, as I live forever, if I have sharpened my flashing sword, and my hand takes hold on judgment, I shall return vengeance to my enemies, and repay those who hate me. I make my arrows drunk with blood, and my sword devours flesh, with the blood of the slain and the captives, from the long-haired enemy chiefs. O nations, acclaim his people. He avenges the blood of his servants, and returns vengeance to his adversaries, and shall pardon his land, his people. It's a nice one. We haven't done that yet, and I like that. Couple times that there's songs in the Bible outside of the Psalms, and some of these Psalms are intimidating, but There's a lot of gut gripping, gut wrenching turns in these, you know. Take hold of shield and armor and rise for my help, which he promised to do in Deuteronomy 32. We're going to go to the book of Ephesians. (6:13). Because of this, take up the complete armor of Elohim so that you have power to withstand in the wicked day, and having done all to stand, stand then, having girded your waist with truth, and having put on the breastplate of righteousness, and having fitted your feet with the preparation of the good news of peace. Above all, having taken up the shield of belief, with which you shall have power to quench all the burning arrows of the wicked one. Take also the helmet of deliverance and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of Elohim, praying at all times with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, watching in all perseverance and supplication for all the set apart ones. Also for me, that a word might be given to me in the opening of my mouth, to be bold in making known the secret of the good news, for which I am an envoy in chains, that in it I might speak boldly as I should speak. Now, in order that you also might know about me, how I am doing, to Chicos, a beloved brother and trustworthy servant in the Master, shall make all matters known to you, whom I did send to you for this same purpose, so that you know about us and might encourage your hearts. Peace to the brothers and love with belief from Elohim the Father and the Master Yeshua Messiah. Favor be with all those who love our Master Yeshua Messiah undecayingly. Amen. Undecayingly. Woo! That's a good word from Paul. Not feathering, not breaking down. No less today than it was yesterday. So Yahuwah is going to take up. I have sharpened my flashing sword, and my hand takes hold on judgment. I make my arrows drunk with blood, and my sword devours flesh with the blood of the slain and the captives, from the long-haired enemy chiefs. Love to know what that's a reference to. But yeah, Yah's going to battle for us, and that's what David's asking for. Fight against those who fight against me. Take hold of shield and armor, and rise up for my help. Draw out spear and lance to meet those who pursue me. Say to my life, I am your deliverance. We talked about deliverance in Psalm 18, which you can go back and watch. We read a lot of it yesterday, but a lot of deliverance. They cry, but no one is there to save. Verse 41. To Yahuwah, but he answers them not. And I beat them as dust before the wind. I empty them out like dirt in the streets. You deliver me from the strivings of the people. You set me at the head of the nations. A people I have not known serve me. As soon as they hear of me, they obey me. The foreigners submit to me. The foreigners fade away and come frightened from their strongholds. Yahuwah lives, and blessed is my rock. And exalted is the Elohim of my deliverance, the El who gives vengeance to me, and he humbles the people under me, my deliverer from my enemies. You lift me up above those who rise against me. You deliver me from a man of violence. Therefore I give thanks to you, O Yahuwah, among nations, and I sing praise to your name, making great the deliverance of his sovereign, and showing loving commitment to his anointed, to Dawid and his seed forever. That spear and lance we saw in Acts 21, 22, 23. 200 spearmen, verse 23. Having called near a certain two captains, he said, get 200 soldiers ready to go to Caesarea and 70 horsemen, 200 spearmen after the 3rd hour of the night, and provide beasts on which to place Shaul and bring him safely to Felix the governor. This is Claudius Lysias basically protecting Shaul. There's a plot to kill him, because we know that everybody wanted to kill him because he was talking about the way, which they call a sect. This is when he's getting taken from the Yehudim, taken by the Yehudim from Asia in Jerusalem. And this guy, Claudius Lysias, basically conjures up an army, right? Like we see, like, you know, like if there's a high profile like El Chapo or something, I want to say a certain president's son being taken to jail. If he is like we see like a brigade, we all know who I'm talking about, Hunter Biden. No need to be subliminal. If there is a like a high-profile criminal, they'll take an armored truck and multiple different, you know, cars and escort them. And this is what happens to Shaul. But he's also, I think for most prisoners, you know, like it's not as much death threat as it is escape. And so Shaul is definitely more death threat. He's like, I ain't going nowhere, and there's plots to kill him, you know, so they're protecting him. As David's calling on Yahweh to do here. Let those be ashamed and blush who seek my life. Let those be turned back and abashed who plot evil to me. Ashamed and blush. Just like embarrassed. Makes you cringe. It's like if you've ever tried to, like, I know I fucked this up. Like if you've ever tried to like insult somebody who's doing right. Or even like I was just joking with this kid in 6th grade, and his last name is Gerstenberger, and I said Greenberger. I was 11 years old. He said, you're not only insulting me, you're insulting my whole family. And he was very offended. And so sorry, Adam, but I was ashamed and blushed. Not even trying to do, I wasn't even trying to do evil to him. Maybe I was. But that comeback was just so, like, proper. It's like, maybe he was a Pharisee. Let them be as chaff before the wind, with the messenger of Yahweh driving on. If you don't follow Stone Soup Ingredients on TikTok, you should. We made a video today about separating the wheat from the chaff, and it's dope, and you should check us out at Stone Soup Ingredients on TikTok, at Stone Soup Ingredients on Instagram. Bang it up. Let their way be dark and slippery, with a messenger of Yahweh pursuing them. Yeah. You don't want chaff in your wheat. You don't want to eat the chaff. It's not grain. It's just the shell. And so I had some pictures of that. I said, don't be it, don't eat it. We're going to use the Google machine in a minute, or the Bible app in a moment. A lot about darkness in Job. Go to Job 24:16. In the dark he has broken into houses. By day they shut themselves up. They have not known light. Let their way be dark and slippery. Yeah. Darkness is not a state that you want to be in. I remember I took a vacation last September, my first vacation ever. And I went on this 12-mile hike with my 65-pound rucksack, and my ass was whooped. My ass was spanked for the entirety of the rest of the week. And I just stayed home, and I was like resting, and just like literally in darkness in September, not going out for 3 days. I was sunburnt. I was like completely just sore, and it took 3 days to heal. And I just, man, and I think back and I look at how like raw that made my heart. Not a good time. Job 18:6. Start at 2. This is Bildad, the Shuhite, speaking. When do you put an end to words? Understand and let us then talk. Why should we be reckoned as beasts, as stupid in your eyes? You who tear yourself to pieces in displeasure, would the earth be forsaken for your sake, or the rock move from its place? Indeed, the light of the wrong goes out, and the flame of his fire does not shine. The light shall be dark in his tent, and his lamp beside him is put out. The steps of his strength are impeded, and his own counsel overthrows him. For he is sent into a net by his own feet, and he walks on a pitfall. The net seizes his heel, a snare prevails over him. A noose is hidden on the ground for him, and a trap for him in his path. You guys getting the picture yet? The wrong ones, all these things. The Torah is, the command is a lamp, and the Torah is a light. Proverbs 6:23. We're also going to go to Job 15. Eliphaz the Temanite is speaking, at which point he says in verse 20, all the days of the wrong one he is paining himself, and few years have been hidden for the ruthless. A frightening sound is in his ears, in peace a destroyer comes to him. He believes not to return from darkness, and he is reserved for the sword. He wanders about for food. Where is it? He knows that a day of darkness is prepared for him. Distress and pain frighten him. They overwhelm him like a sovereign ready for the attack. Because he has stretched out his hand against El and acts mightily against the Almighty. He runs against him defiantly with thick-bossed shields. For he has covered his face with his fatness, and he has put layers of fat on his loins. But he dwells in ruined cities and houses which no one lives in, which have been ready to become heaps. He shall not be rich, and his wealth shall not rise, and his possessions shall not overspread the earth. These are all curses that will befall the wrong one. He does not turn away from darkness. The flame dries up his branches, and he turns aside by the breath of his mouth. Let him not trust in falsehood, deceiving himself, for falsehood is his reward. Before his day is accomplished, and his branch shall not be green, he shakes off his unripe grape like a vine, and throws off his bosom like an olive tree. For the company of the defiled one is barren, and the fire consumes the tents of bribery. They conceive trouble and bring forth wickedness. Even their wombs prepare deception. Ooh.
Matthew 25:31. And when the Son of Man comes in his esteem, and all the set-apart messengers with him, then he shall sit on the throne of his esteem, and all the nations shall be gathered before him, and he shall separate them from one from another, as a shepherd separates his sheep from the goats. And he shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on the left. Then the sovereign shall say to those on his right hand, Come, you blessed of my Father, inherit the reign prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you took me in. Was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came to me. Then the righteous shall answer him, saying, Master, when did we see you hungry, and we fed you, or thirsty, and gave you to drink? And when did we see you a stranger, and took you in, or naked, and clothed you? And when did we see you sick, or in prison, and we came to you? And the sovereign shall answer and say to them, Truly I say to you, in so far as you did it to one of the least of my brothers, you did it to me. He shall then also say to those on the left hand, Go away from me, accursed ones, into the everlasting fire prepared for the devil and his messengers. For I was hungry, and you gave me no food. I was thirsty, and you gave me no drink. I was a stranger, and you did not take me in. I was naked, and you did not clothe me. Sick and in prison, and you did not visit me. Then they also shall answer him, saying, Master, when did we see you hungry or thirsty, or a stranger, or naked, or sick, or in prison, and did not serve you? Then he shall answer them, saying, Truly I say to you, in so far as you did not do it to one of the least of these, you did not do it to me. And these shall go away into everlasting punishment, but the righteous into everlasting life. It's not the one that I was looking for. So let's do the Google on 2. I want to find 2. Okay, so Luke 3:17. And then we're gonna all right. Luke 3:14. Is there another place that this is? Mark. We're going to stick with Luke. We're going to go to Luke 3:14. And soldiers also asked him, saying, "And what shall we do?" And he said to them, "Do not imitate anyone or accuse falsely, or be satisfied with your pay." But as the people were in expectation, and all were reasoning in their hearts about Yohanan, whether he was the Messiah or not, Yohanan answered, saying to them, I indeed immerse you in water, but one mightier than I is coming, whose sandal straps I am not worthy to loosen. He shall immerse you in the set-apart spirit and fire. His winnowing fork is in his hand, and he shall thoroughly cleanse his threshing floor and gather the wheat into his storehouses, but the chaff he shall burn with unquenchable fire. Yeah, get rid of that chaff. You don't need it. For without cause, back in Psalm 35, verse 7, for without cause they hid their net for me. Without cause they dug a pit for my life. Let ruin come upon him unawares, and let his net that he hid catch himself. Let him fall in it into ruin, but let my own being exult in Yahweh. Let it rejoice in his deliverance. Let all my bones say, Yahweh, who is like you? Delivering the poor from one stronger than he, and the poor and the needy from him who robs him. What did we just read in Matthew 25? Master, when did we see you hungry and we fed you, or thirsty and gave you drink? And when did we see you a stranger and took you in, or naked and clothed you? And when did we see you sick or in prison and we came to you? And the sovereign shall answer and say to them, truly I say to you, and so far as you did it to one of the least of these my brothers, you did it to me. Ruthless witnesses rise up. They ask me that which I knew not. They reward me evil for good, bereaving my life. But I, when they were sick, put on sackcloth. I humbled my being with fastings. See this in Ezra and Nehemiah. Sackcloth and fasting. Then Ezra rose up before the house of Elohim and went into the room of Yohanan, son of Elishab, and he went there. He ate no bread and drank no water, for he mourned because of the trespass of the exiles. Ezra 10:6. Nehemiah 9:1. And on the 24th day of this new moon, the children of Israel were assembled with fasting and in sackcloth and with earth on them. And the descendants of Israel separated themselves from all foreigners and stood and confessed their sins and the crookedness of their fathers. And they stood up in their place and read from the book of the Torah of Yahweh, their Elohim, a fourth part of the day, and a fourth part they were confessing and worshiping Yahweh, their Elohim. We also saw it in Job. well. No, we don't. This is such good character here. When they were sick, I put on sackcloth. I humbled my being with fasting, and my prayer would return to my own bosom. Matthew 5:43. You heard that it was said, you shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I say to you, love your enemies. Bless those cursing you, do good to those hating you, and pray for those insulting you and persecuting you, so that you become sons of your Father in the heavens, because he makes his sun rise on the wicked and on the good, and sends rain on the righteous and on the unrighteous. For if you love those loving you, what reward have you? Are the tax collectors not doing the same too? And if you greet your brothers only, what do you do more than others? Are the tax collectors not doing so too? Therefore be perfect as your Father in the heavens is perfect. I walked about as though he were my friend or brother. Man, talk about out of the mouth of Messiah. This is why David's so loved by Yah, because his heart is so righteous. I bowed down mourning as one mourning for a mother. Spoons and stuff. I did a little bit of light and sweet today. But they rejoiced at my stumbling and gathered together, man. And this is just such a, like when you've done good unto people and they just laugh at you. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. You got to keep your wits about you. You got to really be able to love your brother. As yourself, and know that he is your brother, even in these trying times. His vengeance is mine, says Yahweh, not ours. We have to give that up. Got distracted by the fact that missed opportunities to shine for Yahweh in my life. When you pray for something and he gives it to you and you don't take it, I don't know if it's not being ready to take it. I don't really know what it is, but just ask him. I ask Yah that all the things that my heart desires, that I'm ready for, that I can be in authority over them, have power over them, be entrusted with them, seize the opportunities and claim the rewards. In Yeshua's name. Amen. They rejoiced at my stumbling and gathered together. The smiters gathered against me, and I did not know it. They tore in pieces without ceasing. With unclean ones, mockers at feasts, gnashing at me with their teeth. Which gives an interesting... I'm going to go back to... Matthew 25. Actually, this is the parable that made me think of this. So we're actually going to read this whole parable. Start at Matthew 25:14. Start at Matthew 25:13. Watch therefore, because you do not know the day nor the hour in which the Son of Man is coming. For it is like a man going from home, who called his servants and delivered his possession to them. And to the one he gave 5 talents, and to another 2, and to another 1, to each according to his own ability, and went from home. And he who had received the 5 talents went and worked with them, and made another 5 talents. In the same way, he with the 2 also, he gained 2 more. But he who had received the 1 went away and dug in the ground and hid the silver of his master. And after a long time, the master of those servants came and settled accounts with them. And he who had received 5 talents came and brought 5 other talents, saying, Master, you delivered to me 5 talents. See, I have gained 5 more talents besides them. And his master said to him, Well done, good and trustworthy servant. You were trustworthy over a little, I shall set you over much. Enter into the joy of your master. Then he who had received 2 talents came and said, Master, you delivered to me 2 talents. See, I have gained 2 more talents besides them. His master said to him, Well done, good and trustworthy servant. You were trustworthy over a little, I shall set you over much. Enter into the joy of your master. And the one who received the 1 talent also came and said, Master, I knew you to be a hard man, reaping where you have not sown and gathering where you have not scattered seed. And being afraid, I went and hid your talent in the ground. See, you have what is yours. And his master answering said to him, You wicked and lazy servant, you knew that I reap where I have not sown and gather where I have not scattered seed. Then you should have put my silver with the bankers, and at my coming I would have received back my own with interest. Therefore, take away the talent from him and give it to him who possesses 10 talents. For to everyone who possesses more shall be given, and he shall have overflowingly. But from him who does not possess, even what he possesses shall be taken away. And throw the worthless servant out into the outer darkness, there shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. That's why we came here, was for the weeping and gnashing of teeth, which we'll look at. Gnashing at me with their teeth. So this is a violent thing. As in, like, this servant's gonna be mad. And there's also a repentance of deservance opportunity here. But not everybody's gonna humble themselves. Talked about the Ethiopian eunuch in Acts 8, how he's like, no, I don't understand, can you teach me? And, you know, there's an opportunity here for you to do the same. So, as I was at Bible study today, and this came up, this parable. The guy who was hosting, Dan, he said, these talents, they're denominations of silver. People also liken them to literal talents and skills, giftings, but he said they're opportunities. And if you look at them as opportunities, talent, like, if you're talented at something, talents are natural. Talents can be done with or without opportunity. There doesn't need to be opportunity as far as, if I'm a basketball player, I don't need to go to a basketball court. I can start shooting baskets at the trash can. I can, sit on my couch and have a Nerf hoop on the wall. But if it's an opportunity thing, like if, say, I want to be a basketball player and Yah gives me opportunities to go to a basketball court and I don't take those opportunities to go to a basketball court, then that's where those are the talents that are being squandered. And I tell you, it's really looking at this parable from that perspective really gives light to his desire for your desire. That's what kind of God he is. And I think there's a lot of guys out there that are teaching a certain kind of gospel. There's many guys out there teaching many different kinds of gospels. But God wants you to be successful way more than you want to be successful. This master freely gives these talents and opportunities to the servants. He doesn't require anything of them. They get to keep not only the original talents, but also the prophet talents. And, the only one who does nothing with it, the only one who loses is the one who does nothing with it. And I think that the expectation would be that if you go, there will be no loss. As in, even if he was fine losing the 5 talents, the 2 talents, and the 1 talent, the master was. He wasn't worried about it. He was like, whatever. But he wanted them to do something with it. And perhaps they squandered it, and perhaps they failed, perhaps they succeeded. And I think too, like the blessing of Elohim, you're always going to succeed. But honestly, it's real tough because success, like our definition of success, is not the definition of success that Yahweh uses. The definition of success that Yahweh uses is more often a care of purpose. That so if you're given these opportunities and you're seizing them, that's what Yahweh wants you to do in these opportunities. It's not that he wants you to succeed. It's not that he wants you to have a reward. He wants you to take the opportunity because this is an opportunity. And so, just because you go to the basketball court, you might still suck for a long time. This is where practice makes perfect. So you just have to keep practicing and taking the opportunities and failing, and then eventually you're going to get great. And that's why it's okay to fail. And say, this is resurrection. Metaphorical resurrection from the dead. Because when you fail, you're like, fuck, I failed. But then you get back up. You do it again, and you do it again. And you don't hide your talents in the ground. Don't squander your opportunities. Take the opportunities and fail. It's okay. Succeed, but it's okay if you fail. This hit home especially for me today because still trying to find a wife, or just at least not have an empty couch here, which oddly resembles the casting couch. Shout out Fat Electrician. And yeah, didn't seize an opportunity today, and so there's an embarrassment in doing that and a failure, because every time I do that, immediately I know that he's not going to give me another opportunity like that. And it seems like every time I do that, there's a lesser and lesser opportunities. I don't know. You see this. You have to be strong in your faith. You have to love Yahweh. He'll give you whatever you want. You just have to do it. $35:17. Yahweh, how long would you look on? Rescue my being from their destructions, my only life from the lions. I give you thanks in the great assembly. I praise you among a mighty people. Let not my lying enemies rejoice over me, or those who hate me without cause wink their eyes. And so this is very similar, to, like, this whole psalm fits in perfectly to that opportunities, Matthew 25, the opportunities of the talents, because he's got enemies, and he starts praying, and then he starts rebuking. And then he did right by them. And yet they're still shitting on him. And so that makes it really hard to continue to want to do this. Because you're like, fuck. I have so much passion and it's just not paying off. And you don't serve time. For they do not speak peace, but they devise words of deceit against the peaceable ones of the land. And they open their mouth wide against me. They say, aha, aha, our eyes have seen it. This you have seen, O Yahweh. Do not be silent. O Yahweh, do not be far from me. Stir up yourself and awake to my right ruling, to my cause, my Elohim and my master. Let's go to Matthew 6:23. 22. The lamp of the body is the eye. If therefore your eye is good, all your body shall be enlightened. But if your eye is evil, all your body shall be darkened. If then the light that is within you is darkness, how great is that darkness? No one is able to serve two masters, for either he shall hate the one and love the other, or else he shall cleave to the one and despise the other. You are not able to serve Elohim and Mammon. And this is why you don't succumb to people and their will, because you have to stay focused on Yeshua HaMashiach, and you have to know what righteousness is. You have to pursue righteousness. You have to seek the face of the Father. And if somebody gets hurt and pissed off in that, there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. And you have to be willing to accept the persecution of that person. David says this, gnashing of teeth at him. And then we see Yeshua after he throws, and the worthless, verse 30 of Matthew 25, and throw the worthless servant out into the outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. And when the Son of Man comes in his esteem, and all the set apart messengers with him, then he shall sit on the throne of his esteem, and all the nations shall be gathered before him. He shall separate them from one another, as a shepherd separates his sheep from his goats, which we also read. Okay, and so this is the separating, and the gnashing of teeth is basically anger from the people who don't want to do the work required to be a servant of Elohim. And that's why it's tough, you know. You don't know what's right. You don't ever know what's right. And I think everything works out the way that Yah wants it to. But I think that there needs to be faith, trust in Yahuwah. His love and commitment. And open yourself up to opportunities. I want so bad to say the law of attraction here, but I know that it's not that. Because this isn't a new age law thing. The difference between that and what Yah does is that you are just in law of attraction. I mean, you could speak every day, I'm going to be a millionaire, I'm going to be a millionaire, I'm going to be a millionaire, I'm going to be a billionaire, but you have to ask for opportunities to do that, and you have to understand the seizing of the opportunities, you know, because there's people who play lotto every day, and they're like, I'm going to win lotto, I'm going to win lotto, I'm going to win lotto. Not everybody wins lotto. You know what I mean? And so, are you fighting against all the other people who are winning lotto? Well, everything you do, you're competing against other people and their desire for it. Why should Elohim give it to you? Seize the opportunities. Make the most of what he gives you. Matthew 25:21. His master said to him, well done, good and trustworthy servant. You were trustworthy over a little. I shall set you over much. Enter into the joy of your master. Rule me rightly, O Yahuwah my Elohim, according to your righteousness, and let them not rejoice over me. Let them not say in their hearts, aha, our desire. Let them not say, we have swallowed him up. Let those who are rejoicing at my evil be ashamed and abashed altogether. Let those who are exalting themselves over me be clad in shame and humiliation. This goes back to the beginning of the psalm, but in the middle there, he talked about how good he was being. And to them. And you get to a point where you just aren't taken anymore. You know what I mean? And we talked yesterday about the emotions of, like, the ability to utilize the emotions and have those emotions work in your favor. Actually, I think I did the recording this morning, but those emotions work in your favor for your learning. When you do fail at an opportunity, there is weeping and gnashing of teeth. If you're mad at yourself for squandering the opportunity, you're going to be able to repent and grow from it. If you're mad at the master, shit out of luck. It ain't his fault. He gave you the opportunity and you fucked it up. Let those who delight in my righteous cause shout for joy and be glad. And let them always say, let Yahuwah be made great. Who is desiring the peace of his servant? And my tongue shall speak of your righteousness, your praise all day long. Jump for joy for Yahuwah. Jump for joy for your cause. Let Yahuwah be made great. That's why you're doing what you're doing. And if you're doing it with any other intention, if you're doing it with selfish intention, you're not going to succeed at it. You're not going to want to do it. And so you need to spend as much time with Yahuwah as possible in order that as you walk around, your first thought is, how can this opportunity serve Yahuwah? And that's not what I thought. I thought I wanted that when I saw the woman. And that was doing for me, not for Yah. Because like, I've got a girl in Arizona that I FaceTime with now and again. And she doesn't, every time I FaceTime her, we talk for like 3 minutes. She's young and very different people. Very different points in our life. But she's got interest in the word. And so seeing somebody with a passion for Yah, talk about Yah regularly, gives Yah an outlet. It shows him, it allows her to come to him. It serves a purpose for him. Even though it doesn't serve my purpose, it serves him. And so he also wants to serve us because that is his heart. And that's why we are to be like Messiah in that servant's heart. That's what Messiah really teaches us. It's not about the physical at all. At all. It's about the heart condition. A billionaire asked me once, what can I do for you? I didn't even have a job at the time. What can I do for you? What the fuck? That's the servant of, that's the heart of the servant. And that's why he's a billionaire. That's why I'll be a billionaire too. And have all the women that my heart desires. Psalm 36, transgression speaks to the wrong within his heart. Fear of Elohim is not before his eyes, for he flatters himself in his own eyes. To find his crookedness to be hated, the words of his mouth are wickedness and deceit. He has ceased to be wise, to do good, he plots wickedness on his bed. He sets himself in a way that is not good. He does not despise evil. O Yahuwah, your loving commitment is in the heavens, and your trustworthiness reaches to the clouds. Your righteousness is like the mighty mountains. Your right rulings are a great deep. O Yahuwah, you save man and beast. How precious is your loving commitment, O Elohim. And the sons of men take refuge in the shadow of your wings. They are filled from the fatness of your house. And you give them drink from the river of your pleasures. For with you is the fountain of life. In your light we see light. Draw out your loving commitment to those who know you, and your righteousness to the upright in heart. Let not the foot of pride come against me, and the hand of the wrong drive me away. There the workers of wickedness have fallen, they have been overthrown, and have been unable to rise. Okay. We're going to get coffee. There was literally just a bug flew out of my fridge. I think at this point I drink more coffee than water. I'm also making my own milk out of milk powder, because I got some milk powder that's going to be expiring this year from my preps, so rotate your stuff. Coffee's done. Transgression speaks to the wrong within his heart. You know when you fuck up. Fear of Elohim is not before his eyes, for he flatters himself in his own eyes. Yeah. If the eye is dark, so shall the body be. To find his crookedness to be hated. For me, I think about times in my life where I was greedy, and how, like Bear had mentioned at one point, the hunched over posture of somebody who is greedy. And I, even that vacation that I was talking about, I went out, I went in the woods, and I did this 65-mile hike, or 65-pound, 12-mile hike, instead of just relaxing. I'm up here, and even the last 9 months, there were some people that were like, you're on vacation, and I'm like, yeah, I've given out 100 Bibles in the beginning of the year. I helped people open a deli for free. I went to a human trafficking fundraiser and helped demolish houses that were hit by tornadoes so the people didn't have to pay for it. Helped people get sober, prayed with gangbangers and abused teenage girls. you know, what vacation? What vacation? But I didn't rest this whole time. I have not taken the time. I've been saying it. No, I'm just going to take 3 days and I'm just going to be with Elohim. Yeah. No. I mean, even this, hours and hours on end, reading the Word to, you guys. I love you guys. I'm trying to help you guys understand this Word. I'm trying to serve Yahweh by teaching His people the Word, by going through, showing references, explaining to them off my life experiences, my fuck-ups and my glories. I mean, Fruits of the Spirit was a great video if you guys haven't watched it. Tells a lot of my past mess-ups, and I do focus on them a lot because I've had a lot of them, but we're getting to a point in our reading where we're going to talk more about the good things that I've done and how much I've been blessed. And I've been so successful monetarily because of my dedication to seizing opportunity. And now I see that. I can look at the parts of my life where I've lacked, and I can look at the parts of my life where I have thrived. And, a lot of the New Age spirituality is not too far off. It's sad that they forsake Yah, because if they just would humble themselves before Him, they'd have so much more longevity in their existence. I never had experiences where things came out of nowhere, exactly what I was looking for when I needed them, until Yahweh. I always had angels visit, people that said the right thing at the right time, so to speak, but nothing like kids yelling at me across a highway when I get Bibles, or people feeding me in the middle of the woods in North Carolina, or, meeting a girl in Arizona when I'm out visiting my friend to help him stay sober that ends up FaceTiming me 6-9 months later and talking about God, yeah. Never had opportunities like that until Yahweh. So it just goes to show too, just because the tree doesn't bear fruit today doesn't mean that it won't bear fruit tomorrow. You always have to keep taking opportunities. Fear of Yahweh is not before his eyes, the wrong's eyes, for he flatters himself in his own eyes, to find his crookedness to be hated. The words of his mouth are wickedness and deceit. Okay. I want to look up what this means, because I'm wondering if this is taking pleasure in the fact that people hate them. Those people that just get off on the fact that you hate them? Because they're not successful either. They're not. To detect and hate his error. For in his own eyes he flatters himself too much, to detect and hate his own error. Oh, okay. To find his crookedness to be hated. That's such a weird way to say that. That makes so much more sense. For he flatters himself in his own eyes, to find his crookedness to be hated. So he won't humble himself, basically, is what this is saying. Wow, look at my hair. There's strands out there.
I'm totally not insecure about my hair. It's just like there. It's very apparent to me sometimes. And I'm surprised I can see it against the black. Like it should blend. It should look like I'm bald right now with the curtain. Totally kidding. He won't humble himself to see that people hate him. The words of his mouth are wickedness and deceit. He has ceased to be wise, to do good. Yeah, if there's somebody who you need to there is somebody who hates you. I remember my mom being mad at me. I was so in and out. I was working so much, and she hated me. She was so mad at me for like weeks, and I just did not do anything about it. Like I just let it go, and go and go and go, and you know, I'm watching like this disdain build, and man, now I realize what it was. It wasn't how much I was working, it was that I was not sharing the fruit of my labor, which really was what fucked me up. But I've made amends with that, and Matthew 5:22, but I say to you that whoever is wroth with his brother without a cause shall be liable to judgment, and whoever says Raka to his brother shall be liable to the Sanhedrin, but whoever says you fool shall be liable to the fire of Gehenna. If then you bring your gift to the slaughter place, and there remember that your brother holds whatever against you, leave your gift there before the slaughter place and go. First make peace with your brother, and then come and offer your gift. Be well-minded with your opponent promptly, while you are on the way with him, lest your opponent deliver you to the judge, and the judge to the officer, and you be thrown in prison. Truly I say to you, you shall by no means get out of there till you have paid the last quadrans. Humble yourself. Don't come to Yah with no bullshit in your heart against your brother. Don't come to Yah's children with no bullshit in your heart against Yah. We're going to look for scriptures that show people coming to you. The kind of people that you are. He has ceased to be wise, to do good. He plots wickedness on his bed. He sets himself in a way that is not good. He does not despise evil. O Yahuwah, your loving commitment is in the heavens, and your trustworthiness reaches to the clouds. Your righteousness is like the mighty mountains. Your right rulings are a great deep. Obviously, at the end of 4, we were talking about the wrong one, and then we transition into praise of Yahuwah. Your loving commitment is in the heavens, where all things come from.
Your trustworthiness reaches to the clouds. To rain down on us. The fact that we can trust in him, we can count on him. I find ease in trusting in Yahuwah. If there's something that I really, really need, I can trust in Yah. Hands up if you find difficulty trusting him in the small things, because you trust him so much that you're like, well, I don't know, do I really need this new pair of shoes? You know, but like, then sometimes you go to the store and that pair of shoes is on sale. It's happened. Everything right when you need it, right when the time is right. Even I went to the 12 tribes, sitting in my car, and I'm looking like, boy, these shoes are beat. I get there, and the guy's like, hey, it's kind of probably hard to dance in those shoes, and they're kind of outdoor shoes. Can I give you these shoes? You know, and that's the importance of having people around you that truly fear Yahuwah and love Yahuwah and desire to be in his spirit, because they see his righteousness and his trustworthiness. Your righteousness is like the mighty mountains. Yeah, they conquer all. It conquers all things, all needs, all desires, all everything conquered in the name of Yahuwah's righteousness. Your right rulings are a great deep. Your right rulings are a great deep. Think like a bag, a never-ending bag. Just continually grab from his right rulings. O Yahuwah, you save man and beast. How precious is your loving commitment, O Elohim. Job 38. Do you feed the young lions or the ravens when they cry out? You save man and beast. Job 38. Then Yahuwah answered Job out of the whirlwind and said, who is this who darkens counsel by words without knowledge? Now gird up your loins like a man, and I ask you, and you answer me. Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Declare if you have understanding. Who set its measurements, if you know, or who stretched a line upon it? Upon what were its foundations sunk? Or who laid its cornerstone when the morning stars sang together and all the sons of Elohim shouted for joy? Or who enclosed the sea with doors when it burst forth and came from the womb? When I made the clouds its garment and thick darkness its swaddling band, and assigned for it my law, and set bars and doors, and said, this far you have come, but no farther, and here your proud waves stop. Have you ever commanded the morning and caused the dawn to know its place, to take hold of the corners of the earth, and the wrong will be shaken out of it? It is changed like clay under a seal, and they stand out like a garment. And their light is withheld from the wrong, and the arm lifted up is broken. Have you come to the sources of the sea, or have you walked about in the recesses of the deep? Were the gates of death revealed to you, or have you seen the gates of the shadow of death? Have you understood the breadth of the earth? Declare if you know it all. Where is the way to the dwelling of light? And darkness, where is its place, that you should take it to its boundary, and know the paths to its home? Do you know? For you would have been born then, and the number of your days been many. Have you entered into the storehouses of snow, or have you seen the storehouses of hail, which I have kept for the time of distress, for the day of fighting and battle? Where is the way that light is divided, or the east wind scattered over the earth? Who has cleft a channel for the overflowing water, or a way for the thunderclaps, to make rain fall on land where no one is, a wilderness in which there is no man, to satisfy the wild and waste places, and to make the seeds of grass to sprout? Does the rain have a father? Or who has brought forth the drops of dew? From whose belly comes the ice? And who gives birth to the frost of the heavens? The waters harden like stone, and the surface of the deep is frozen. Do you bind the bands of Kema, or loosen the cords of Kessel? Do you bring out the constellation in its season? Or do you lead the bear with its sons? Do you know the laws of the heavens, or do you set their rule over the earth? Do you lift up your voice to the clouds so that the floods of water cover you? Do you send out lightnings, and they go and say to you, here we are? Or who has put wisdom in the inward parts? Who has put wisdom in the inward parts? Or who has given understanding to the heart? Who has wisdom to count the clouds, or to tip over the bottles of the heavens, when the dust hardens in clumps and the clods cling together? Do you hunt the prey for the lion, or satisfy the appetite of the young lions when they crouch in dens, sit in the cover of their shelter? Who provides food for the ravens when its young ones cry to El and wander about without food? Do you know the time when the wild mountain goat bears her young? Or do you observe when the deer gives birth? Do you number the months they complete? Or do you know the time when they bear young? They bow down, they bring forth their young, their labor pains are ended, their young ones are thriving, they grow up in the field. They shall leave and shall not return to them. Who set the wild donkey free? Who loosed the bonds of the wild donkey? Whose home I have made the desert, and the salt land his dwelling place. He laughs at the commotion of the city. He does not hear the shouts of the driver. The range of the mountains is his pasture, and he searches for all that is green. Would the wild ox be pleased to serve you, or spend the night by your feeding trough? If you bind the wild ox in the furrow with ropes, would he plow the valleys behind you? Would you rely on his great strength, or would you leave your labor to him? Would you trust him to bring home your grain and gather it to your threshing floor? The wings of the ostrich flap joyously, but it is not the pinion and plumage of a stork. She leaves her eggs on the ground and warms them in the dust, and she forgets that a foot might crush them or a wild beast tread on them. She treats her young harshly as if not hers. Her toil is in vain without fear, because Eloah has made her forget wisdom, and did not endow her with understanding. When she lifts herself on high, she laughs at the horse and its rider. Have you given the horse strength? Have you covered his neck with a mane? Would you make him leap like a locust? His splendid snortings is frightening. He paws in the valley and rejoices in strength. He gallops in the clash of arms. He laughs at fear and is not frightened, nor does he turn back from the sword. The quiver rattles against him, the glittering spear and lance. He eats up the ground with fierceness and rage. He does not stand still because of a voice of a shofar. At the blast of the shofar, he says, "Aha!" and from afar he smells the battle. The thunder of commanders and shouting. Does the hawk fly by your wisdom, spreading its wings toward the south? Does the eagle mount up at your mouth and make its nest on high? It dwells on the rock and lodges on the crag of the rock and the stronghold. And from there it searches out the prey. Its eyes see it from afar. And its young ones suck up blood, and where the slain are, there it is. O Yahweh, you save man and beast. How precious is your love and commitment, O Elohim. And the sons of men take refuge in the shadow of your wings. They are filled from the fatness of your house, and you give them drink from the river of your pleasures. For with you is the fountain of life. In your light we see light. It's got to be John 8:12 here. Therefore Yeshua spoke to them again, saying, I am the light of the world. He who follows me shall by no means walk in darkness, but possess the light of life. The Pharisees therefore said to him, You bear witness about yourself. Your witness is not true. Yeshua answered and said to them, Even if I witness concerning myself, my witness is true. For I know where I came from and where I am going. But you do not know from where I come or where I go. You judge according to the flesh. I judge no one. But even if I do judge, my judgment is true, because I am not alone in it, but I and the Father who sent me. And in your Torah also it has been written that the witness of two men is true. I am one who witnesses concerning myself, and the Father who sent me witnesses concerning me. Therefore they said to him, Where is your Father? Yeshua answered, You know neither me nor my Father. If you knew me, you would have known my Father also. These words Yeshua spoke in the treasury, teaching in the set-apart place, and no one laid hands on him because his hour had not yet come. Therefore Yeshua said to them again, I am going away, and you shall seek me, and you shall die in your sin. Where I go, you are unable to come. In your light we see light. Why? Because we know the witness. We know the witness of Yeshua HaMashiach. One more. John 10:14. I am the good shepherd, and I know mine, and mine know me, even as the Father knows me. And I know the Father, and I lay down my life for the sheep. And other sheep I have which are not of this fold, I have to bring them as well, and they shall hear my voice, and there shall be one flock, one shepherd. Because of this the Father loves me, because I lay down my life in order to receive it again. No one takes it from me, but I lay it down of myself. I have authority to lay it down, and I have authority to receive it again. This command I have received from my Father. Again there became a division among the Yehudim because of these words, and many of them said, He has a demon and is mad. Why do you listen to him? Others said, These are not the words of one possessed by a demon. Is a demon able to open the eyes of the blind? In your light we see light. Draw out your love and commitment to those who know you, and your righteousness to the upright in heart. We're going to hit Exodus 34:6. Because you guys need to know this. And Yahuwah passed before him and proclaimed, Yahuwah, Yahuwah, an El compassionate and showing favor, patient and great in love and commitment and truth, watching over love and commitment for thousands, forgiving crookedness and transgression and sin, but by no means leaving unpunished, visiting the crookedness of the fathers upon the children and the children's children to the third and fourth generation. Draw out your love and commitment to those who know you, and your righteousness to the upright in heart. Deuteronomy. We are going to read Deuteronomy 6:1. And this is the command, the laws and right ruling which Yahweh your Elohim has commanded, to teach you to do in the land which you are passing over to possess, so that you fear Yahweh your Elohim to guard all his laws and his commands which I command you, you and your son and your grandson all the days of your life, and that your days be prolonged. And you shall hear, O Yisrael, and shall guard to do that it might be well with you, and that you increase greatly, as Yahweh Elohim of your fathers has spoken to you, in a land flowing with milk and honey. Hear, O Yisrael, Yahweh our Elohim, Yahweh is one. And you shall love Yahweh your Elohim with all your heart, and with all your being, and with all your might. And these words which I am commanding you today shall be in your heart, and you shall impress them upon your children, and shall speak of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up, and shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. And you shall write them on the doorposts of your gates, and of your house, and on your gates. And it shall be, when Yahweh your Elohim brings you into the land of which he swore to your fathers, to Abraham, to Yitzchak, and to Jacob, to give you great and good cities which you did not build, and houses filled with all kinds of good which you did not fill, and wells dug which you did not dig, vineyards and olive trees which you did not plant, and you shall eat and be satisfied. Be on guard, lest you forget Yahuwah, who brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim from the house of bondage. Fear Yahuwah your Elohim, and serve him, and swear by his name. Do not go after other mighty ones, the mighty ones of the people who are all around you. For Yahuwah your Elohim is a jealous El in your midst. Let the displeasure of Yahuwah your Elohim burn against you, then he shall destroy you from the face of the earth. Do not try Yahuwah your Elohim as you tried him in Massah. Diligently guard the commands of Yahuwah your Elohim, and his witness, and his laws which he has commanded you. And you shall do what is right and good in the eyes of Yahuwah, that it might be well with you, and you shall go in and possess the good land of which Yahuwah swore to your fathers to drive out all your enemies from before you, as Yahuwah has spoken. We're going to go through 3 more examples. And all of this next part is in Hebrews 11, which you can look at. Genesis 15. After these events, the word of Yahuwah came to Abram in a vision, saying, Do not be afraid, Abram. I am your shield. Your reward is exceedingly great. And Abram said, Master Yahuwah, what would you give me, seeing I go childless, and the heir of my house is Eliezer of Damascus? And Abraham said, See, you have given me no seed, and see, one born in my house is my heir. And see, the word of Yahuwah came to him, saying, This one is not your heir, but he who comes from your body is your heir. And he brought him outside and said, Look now toward the heavens, and count the stars if you are able to count them. And he said to him, So are your seed. And he believed in Yahuwah, and he reckoned it to him for righteousness. Okay, so Abram's found righteous. Let's go back a little bit farther. No, Genesis 6, And it came to be when men began to increase on the face of the earth, and daughters were born to them, that the son of Elohim saw the daughters of men, that they were good, and they took wives for themselves of all whom they chose. And Yahuwah said, My spirit shall not strive with man forever in his going astray. He is flesh, and his days shall be 120 years. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of Elohim came into the daughters of men, and they bore children to them. Those were the mighty men who were of old, the men of name. And Yahuwah saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every inclination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And Yahuwah was sorry that he had made man on the earth, and he was grieved in his heart. And Yahuwah said, I am going to wipe off man whom I have created from the face of the ground, both man and beast, creeping creature and birds of the heavens, for I am sorry that I have made them. But Noah found favor in the eyes of Yahuwah. This is the genealogy of Noah. Noah was a righteous man, perfect in his generation. Noah walked with Elohim. And Noah brought forth 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And the earth was corrupt before Elohim, and the earth was filled with violence. And Elohim looked upon the earth, and saw that it was corrupt, for all the flesh had corrupted their way on the earth. And Elohim said to Noah, The end of all flesh has come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them, and see, I am going to destroy them from the earth. Make yourself an ark of gopher wood, make rooms in the ark, and cover it inside and out with a covering. And this is how you are going to make it. The length of the ark is 300 cubits, its width 50 cubits, and its height 30 cubits. Going back to verse 9. This is the genealogy of Noah. Noah was a righteous man, perfect in his generations. Okay. We're going to stop at Hebrews 11. Real quick. We're not going to do the whole chapter. We're just going to bang these out. By belief, we understand that the ages were prepared by the word of Elohim, so that what is seen was not made of what is visible. By belief, Abel offered to Elohim a great slaughter offering, a greater slaughter offering than Cain, through which he obtained witness that he was righteous, Elohim witnessing of his gifts, and through it, having died, he still speaks. By belief, Hanok was translated so as not to see death, and was not found because Elohim had translated him. For before his translation he obtained witness that he pleased Elohim. But without belief it is impossible to please him, for he who comes to Elohim has to believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of those who earnestly seek him. By belief Noah, having been warned of what was yet unseen, having feared, prepared an ark to save his house, through which he condemned the world and became heir of righteousness, which is according to belief. By belief Abraham obeyed when he was called to go out to the place which he was about to receive as an inheritance, and he went out, not knowing where he was going. By belief he sojourned in the land of promise as a stranger, dwelling in tents with Yitzchak and Jacob, the heirs with him of the same promise. He was looking for the city having foundations, whose builder and maker is Elohim. By belief also Sarah herself was enabled to conceive seed, and she bore a child when she was past the normal age, because she deemed him trustworthy who had promised. By belief Yitzchak blessed Jacob and Esau concerning that which was to come. By belief Jacob, when he was dying, blessed each of the sons of Joseph, and did reverence upon the top of his staff. By belief Joseph, when he was dying, made mention of the outgoing of the children of Israel, and gave orders concerning his bones. By belief Moshe, having been born, was hidden 3 months by his parents, because they saw he was a comely child, and were not afraid of the sovereign's command. By belief Moshe, having become great, refused to be called the son of the daughter of Pharaoh, choosing rather to be afflicted with the people of Elohim, rather than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a time, deeming the reproach of Messiah greater riches than the treasures in Mitzrayim, for he was looking to the reward. Luke 1. Since many have indeed taken in hand to set in order an account of the matters completely confirmed among us, as those who from the beginning were eyewitnesses and servants of the word delivered them to us, it seemed good to me as well, having followed up all these matters exactly from the beginning, to write to you an orderly account, most excellent Theophilos, that you might know the certainty of the word which you were taught. There was in the days of Herodes, the sovereign of Yehuda, a certain priest named Zachariah of the division of Abijah, and his wife was of the daughters of Aaron, and her name was Elisheba. And they were both righteous before Elohim, blamelessly walking in all the commands and righteousness of Yahuwah. And they had no child, because Elisheba was barren, and both were advanced in years. And it came to be that while he was serving as priest before Elohim in the order of his division, according to the institute of the priesthood, he was chosen by lot to burn incense. He went to the dwelling place of Yahuwah. And the entire crowd of people was praying outside at the hour of incense, and a messenger of Yahuwah appeared to him, standing on the right side of the slaughter place of incense. And when Zacharias saw him, he was troubled, and fear fell upon him. The messenger said to him, Do not be afraid, Zechariah, for your prayer is heard. And your wife Elisheba shall bear you a son, and you shall call his name Yohanan. And you shall have joy and gladness, and shall rejoice at his birth. For he shall be great before Yahuwah, and shall drink no wine and strong drink at all, and he shall be filled with the set-apart spirit, even from his mother's womb. And he shall turn many of the children of Israel to Yahuwah their Elohim. And he shall go before him in the spirit and power of Eliyahu, to turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, and the disobedient to the insight of the righteous, to make ready a people prepared for Yahuwah. To make ready a people prepared for Yahuwah. Righteous. Righteous, righteous. Righteous. And they were both righteous before Elohim, blamelessly walking in all the commands and righteousnesses of Yahuwah. What do we do? What do we do? Draw out your love and commitment to those who know you, your righteousnesses to the upright in heart. Walk in righteousness. Walk in righteousness. And teach righteousness to the next generation. It is so important because there is need for them to understand. Let not the foot of pride come against me, and the hand of the wrong drive me away. There the workers of wickedness have fallen. They have been overthrown and have been unable to rise. Revelation 14. And I looked and saw a lamb standing on Mount Zion, and with him 144,000, having his Father's name written upon their foreheads. And I heard a voice out of the heavens like the voice of many waters, and like the voice of loud thunder, and I heard the sound of harpists playing their harps. And they sang a new song before the throne, and before the four living creatures and the elders. And no one was able to learn that song except the 144,000 who were redeemed from the earth. They are those who were not defiled with women, for they are maidens. They are those following the Lamb wherever he leads them on. They were redeemed from among men, being firstfruits to Elohim and to the Lamb. And in their mouth was found no falsehood, for they are blameless before the throne of Elohim. And I saw another messenger flying in mid-heaven, holding the everlasting good news to announce to those dwelling on the earth, even to every nation and tribe and tongue and people, saying with a loud voice, Fear Elohim, and give esteem to him, because the hour of his judgment has come, and worship him, who made the heavens and the earth, and sea, and fountain of water. And another messenger followed, saying, Babel is fallen, that great city, because she has made all the nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her whoring. And a third messenger followed them, saying with a loud voice, If anyone worships the beast and his image, and receives his mark upon his forehead or upon his hand, he also shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Elohim, which is poured out undiluted into the cup of his wrath. And he shall be tortured with fire and sulfur before the set-apart messengers and before the Lamb. And the smoke of their torture goes up forever and ever, and they have no rest day or night, those worshiping the beast and his image. Also, if anyone receives the mark of his name. Here is the endurance of the set-apart ones. Here are those guarding the commands of Elohim and the belief of Yeshua. And I heard a voice out of the heavens saying to me, Write, Blessed are the dead who die in the Master from now on. Yes, says the set-apart Spirit, in order that they rest from their labors and their works follow with them. And I looked and saw a white cloud, and sitting on the cloud was one like the Son of Man, having on his head a golden crown, and in his hand a sharp sickle. And another messenger came out of the dwelling place, crying with a loud voice to the one sitting on the cloud, Send your sickle and reap, because the hour has come for you to reap, because the harvest of the earth is ripe. And the one sitting on the cloud thrust his sickle on the earth, and the earth was reaped. And another messenger came out of the dwelling place which is in the heavens, and he too held a sharp sickle. And another messenger came out from the slaughter place, having authority over the fire. And he cried with a loud voice to him, having the sharp sickle, saying, Send your sharp sickle and gather the clusters of the vine of the earth, because her grapes are ripe. And the messenger thrust his sickle into the earth and gathered the vine of the earth and threw it into the great winepress of the wrath of the Elohim. And the winepress was trodden outside the city, and blood came out of the winepress up to the bridles of the horses for about 1,600 stadia. Babel is fallen, Praise Yahweh.